Glenn Hodges. We're at Barnes & Noble today, and I have the pleasure of being with Lee Greenwood and Gary Highfield. Both of these gentlemen are authors. One of them may be just known a wee bit more than the other, and one of them may be not only known for the books he's written, but also from some records and songs that he has written. Lee, what is the purpose of this new book that you have written?
Proud to be an American is a children's illustrated book. It reflects the lyrics of my song, God Bless the USA, which is over 30 years old. The purpose is to teach the next generation a little bit of respect for our flag, our country, our military, and understand what it means to be a patriot. I think if you look back at our history, when we signed the Declaration of Independence with all those people who put their lives on the line with blood and the possibility of death for them and their families, they were not military. We can all be a patriot. We just have to figure out how to teach our kids.
Now, your book is actually designed for adults to read to children almost from birth. Is that correct?
That's what we did with our kids. I know you probably did as well. Yep. Sit them on your lap. Particularly after you have a bath, get them put them to bed. They're in a good mood to kind of listen, and you smell their hair. You know, if you shampooed it, you know, it's that warm bonding feeling. Yeah. Put the book in front of them, and they're fascinated with the pictures and things. And after you've read the book 250 times or more, because we read from the time they were a year old till they were 5 or 6, getting into elementary school, giving them lessons on colors and numbers and letters and words, sentences, animals, insects, geography, you name it. We're doing the education, the pre-ed. And parents today are very busy. And then when they have little kids, they're in the productive years of their life. So they're working really hard. They need the grandparents. And the grandparents are the ones that would like the book the most, because they can sit that right there with the kid, teach them the lessons of life and patriotism, which in our generation and my parents' and grandparents' generation, that was the thing that came easily. Today it doesn't come so easy.
Well, that's interesting. It's so awesome because that is, as I understand, the easiest way to get a child's interest in books, teach them to read, and then you're teaching them the importance of patriotism also. I've learned some alarming things from my friend Gary Highfield here, in that we've got children in school that are in school today that, how many of those children, Gary, come from single-parent homes?
Glynn, it's an alarming number. I haven't been in all the schools. We're primarily in public schools. The schools I've been in range anywhere from 80% to 100% of the kids are in single-parent or no-parent homes. A shocking number and a shocking statement that is hard to believe.
Well, I had mentioned that earlier to Mr. Greenwood here, and he seemed kind of shocked at that. So what do you really think is the solution to something like this, Lee?
Well, it's really tough. Today's modern generation has a liberal attitude towards marriage. I was listening to the TV this morning where they said they might even eliminate man and wife from a marriage and call it spouse and spouse. I think there's a certain lack of unity with anything that can fall apart so easily. And as you pointed out, if it's a single home or almost no parents responding to take care of a child, they're out there on their own, then you've really got a great thing that's going to help them.
Well, Glenn, to further add to that question, what we're learning with these kids, they have been called, this generation, some of these kids have been called the lost generation. So we've taken my book. I was raised in a single parent home. I've never met my father. I had 5 stepfathers. So there's an immediate connection on my part with the kids. These kids are reading this book because it's their story. What these kids need is a roadmap how to go from where they are to where they want to be, and that's the purpose of our foundation.
You think that's the right approach, Lee?
Well, it certainly is one of the answers. I mean, you have to address it, and you have to address it when they're lost, while they're young. If you wait past their teenage years, probably you're too late. I'd say 10, 11, 12, you need to get in. And of course, there's lots of things that help that. Boys and girls clubs that take kids that have nothing to do after school and get into trouble. That really is a big help. Anything that's a cause like this, it helps. Inner cities have lots of people who work with lost youth in that regard. Athletes take charge of young men. Boys and girls are certainly, and big brother programs, big sister programs.
Gary, you have a foundation, a 501c. What's the name of that foundation? And tell us exactly what you're doing there.
The 1-2 Foundation Incorporated is sole purpose, sole mission of that foundation is to help these kids believe what's possible is possible for them. You know, many times these kids have never had, they've never been able to make the statement, my father always said, or my father always did, or my mom always did. They can't make that statement. These kids there's a major portion of these kids that have parents that are incarcerated, that they haven't seen these parents since they were 1 or 2 years old. So what we're doing is connecting the community with these kids. We're bringing in corporations. We're handpicking here in the Chattanooga area 100 companies that come in and mentor these kids and show these kids how to be better citizens, how to be adults, and how to go from where they are to where they want to be inside these companies. How do they get in these companies? And we're bringing in the community to do that.
Thank you. It's amazing the work that both of you are doing. You're both meeting a very distinct need for the children in America. Gary's predominantly in southeast Tennessee and northwest Georgia and beginning to creep into Kentucky, but I think this is something that's going to spread rapidly. Folks, both these gentlemen have books here at Barnes & Noble. Lee is in town to sign his new book, and the name of that is
Proud to Be an American, children's illustrated book, and it also has a free download of a brand new version of my song, God Bless the USA.
And I was doing a little research. Tell me about the record-breaking sales of that song, Proud to Be an American.
Well, I released God Bless USA in 1983,
Okay, yeah.
and many people do call it Proud to Be an
Yeah.
American, which is why we decided to go ahead and release the book.
Right.
And of course, the front page, the picture of New York. And we went to New York 3 times right after the attack on America. Now, my boys were 6 and 3 at the time, so for them, even though now they're 20 and 17, it's just history. They read it in the history books. Just like when my father served in World War II, we read it in the history books. So we want to at least make reference to the fact that one of the greatest cities in the world is New York. That's why I put it on the cover. Throughout my book, we'll have pictures of America and places that kids will visit, during their lifetime. And we try to make the pictures kind of fun so that they have a nice experience reading the book.
Well, they do look like fun, and I bought 6 of the books myself that I hope I can get you to sign in a little bit.
Absolutely.
And Gary Highfield's book is also available here at Barnes & Noble when want to becomes have to. And we'd like to also thank Barnes & Noble for hosting this event and the fact that the manager here of Barnes & Noble, Kelly Fleming, has agreed that he will make this a fundraiser for the Want To Foundation.
Good.
For those of you that might want to know more about the Want To Foundation, what's the name of your website?
You can go to want2foundation.org, Glynn, and find out all about the work we're doing.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Lee Greenwood, for all you're doing for America, the children of America, the future leaders of America, and you, Gary Highfield, for the lives that you're changing. You've got non-readers in high school reading a book. I met a gentleman here at Barnes & Noble earlier this week that came in and made that statement. That's amazing.
That's great.
So thank you for what you're doing. This is Glynn Hodges reminding you that anything is possible.